Welcome to the RFID video presentation by Jason Mickelson, Dustin Guyman, and Ryan Bledsoe. We will be going over in this video the basics of RFID, how it's being used in business today, and some concerns about the RFID. Well, first things first, let's start off with what does RFID stand for? It stands for Radio Frequency Identification. There are two types of RFID tags, active and passive. To read any RFID tag, you will need an RFID reader. You can buy a reader specifically designed to read RFID tags, and even some smartphones today can read RFID tags. Most tags work in the same way. Data stored within an RFID tag waits for something to read it. When it's time to be read, an RFID reader will send an electromagnetic energy to the tag's antenna, using the power it just harvested from the reader, or if it's an active tag, it will use its own battery. The tag will send a radio wave back to the reader. The reader will interpret the radio wave into some kind of usable data. Passive tags have no power source and no transmitter. They are cheaper than active tags, and they do not require any routine maintenance. Passive tags operate on many different frequencies, ranging from 124 kHz at its lowest to 960 MHz. Also, because they have no power, their read range is a few inches to 30 feet. Active tags operate at 455 MHz, 2.4 GHz, and 5.8 GHz, and they have a read range of 60 feet to 300 feet. In the active tag category, there are transponders and beacons. Transponders are woken up when they receive a signal from a reader. Transponders conserve battery life by having the tag broadcast its signal only when in range of a reader. Beacons, on the other hand, emit a signal on a timed interval. It can be set to every 3 seconds or once a day. Because of this, active tags are more expensive than passive. Another factor that can change the cost of RFID tags is the type of data storage you want. There are 3 storage types: read, write, read only, and worm, which stands for write once, read many. The first 2 types are pretty much self-explanatory. The worm type can contain the data that is originally entered into the tag, and then it can have additional data added once, but it cannot overwrite data. Now let's talk about a kind of alternative to RFID, and that's near-field communication, or NFC for short. It's something most new smartphones can do. If you've seen the Samsung commercial where they touch their phones together and share a file, they did this through NFC. The reason why they had to be so close is that NFC range is very small. It has a max range of about 4 inches. Not only can you transfer files with NFC, you can also use it as a payment option. Google is one company pushing NFC payments with Google Wallet. The application stores credit card information under multiple layers of security and allows for quick tap payments at NFC terminals. Now let's go back to RFID. Coming up here are some examples of different shapes and sizes of RFID tags. The picture on the left contains many different types. The picture in the middle is a tag that could be implanted in your body and is sitting next to a grain of rice. The last picture is a tag that farmers can use to keep track of their animals. And now I'm going to switch things over to Dustin, who will give you some other examples of RFID.
Thanks for that overview, Ryan. The purpose of this segment is to help us get some more real-life examples. So we wanted to kind of get our hands dirty and bring the technology to life. The first business we went and visited was actually Biomark, and they are a local business here in the Treasure Valley. They've actually been operating since 1991, and we went and talked to Kirsten McKay, which she's the head of marketing and sales there, and then we also talked to Sam Breidenbach, and he was a customer service associate, but they were really helpful. And so the customers that they have are local state agencies, and they also work with some federal agencies as well, Department of Fish and Game, and so they take advantage of some of the grant money that's offered through the state and federal governments. They also said that they have branches in Australia. They also have branches in Sweden as well. So they're marketing and expanding internationally. They sell and specialize in low frequency passive RFID tags, so that's abbreviated PIT. And then they also have the related PIT tagging equipment, and just some examples of that are here in pictures. So in the upper right hand corner here, these are the different PIT tags that they offer. So they offer just little teeny ones, and then all the way up to almost 22 millimeters. And then this is how that they implant the PIT tags into the different animals using this gun here. And then this down here is the reader. When we visited Biomark and they gave us a demonstration, this is what they had to show us.
Powers this antenna, and it projects an electromagnetic field. And what this tag is basically a ferrite wrapped in copper.
Okay.
And so once it gets stimulated by the field, it sends its information. There's a little computer chip in here as well that will send the information to the reader, and then it decodes it and it gives you that code right there. And so that's why they're passive. It requires this field in order to be detected. And there's a whole bunch of different ways.
We didn't really get the field. Did you get the field from the bigger one? And then the smaller one?
I think
It didn't look like it was like 16 versus like 12, so it's
not a big difference.
Yeah, it's
not relative to.
I was thinking it
it
would be a lot more, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not huge, but it's every little bit helps.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
And part of it too is from an R&D standpoint, because that 12 millimeter tag is by far the tag. I mean, we sell millions of those a year, and the development of the most efficient, highest performing tag has been all the research is put into that tag size.
Yeah.
If we put as much time and effort into developing a 23 mil tag with the highest, efficiency and performance, it would probably be better than what it is. But really, as I said, really where the money is in that 12 millimeter tag because of the fisheries use.
Yeah.
So. Business use case number 2. Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando, Florida. Since about early November, they are testing a technology that enables guests to use an RFID band to gain access to all different areas of the park and also other benefits as well. And so this is called My Magic Plus, and the RFID band is actually called Magic Band. And so with this band, guests of the Walt Disney World Resort will be able to enter the park, so they'll use it as a ticket. It will also be a room key for guests of the Walt Disney Resort hotels. They'll also be able to use it as a means of like a debit card or credit card, so they'll be able to buy things with it. And it will be able to save their spot in line. Disney calls this Fast Pass. And it will also be the means to give them reservations for fireworks and also different parades. How is it used? On YouTube, we found a video that gives a very good overview of all the different uses. We'll go ahead and show that now. third and final technology utilizes NFC, or near field communication, as Ryan alluded to earlier. And it's Google Wallet. The application itself with the near field communication, the tap to pay setting, it's brand new. It only started the first part of December 2013. And what it is it's an application that you would download for your Android or your iPhone, and it stores multiple credit and debit card information. It also stores loyalty card information as well. So you can store multiple credit cards or debit cards, and then you can actually select which credit card you want to use at the time, and you can actually use it to tap to pay. And what tap to pay is you would select your credit or debit card that you wanted to use on your smartphone, and then you would actually take your smartphone and put it close to the reader, and the reader would then communicate with your smartphone via near field technology, and it would exchange your information, and you'd be able to actually pay via that. And I actually have the Samsung Galaxy Nexus for Verizon, and it has the NFC technology, and I was actually able to download the application and test it out. It works, and I actually got some footage of it with me buying a soda here on campus. So I'll go ahead and show that right now. Now Jason is going to talk about some of the security and privacy concerns involved with RFID and NFC communication technology.
The last aspect of RFID we're going to focus on is security and privacy, starting with security. The first thing I should mention about security is the current security standard is Gen 2 security, created by the EPC Global Organization, which sets the standards for electronic product codes. Gen 2 security was first started to be implemented around 2007. It was created in response to initial RFID technology, which wasn't created with security in mind. Gen 2 security is very good. Next, we're going to look at the different types of attacks that can happen to RFID technology, starting with unauthorized access to tags and loss or theft of tags, and then side channel attacks or eavesdropping, and lastly, rogue reader attacks. Now first, for unauthorized access to tags or loss or theft of tag, there's different sorts of tag protection. First, there's password protection, which you can protect with a password that only you know. And next, there's a kill switch. If you lose a tag or think it's stolen, you can kill it, and then it will be completely worthless. The next type of attack is what's called a side channel attack or eavesdropping. This is when a rogue reader tries to steal a connection between a legitimate tag and a legitimate reader. For NFC technology, this isn't a problem because the connection is such a short space, but for other RFID technologies, you depend on encryption, which in Gen 2 is a 32-bit code and is very good and hasn't been cracked yet. Next, there's rogue reader attacks. This is when a fake reader is set up next to a legitimate reader to steal information from tags that think they're scanning buying a pop or something. The best way to prevent a rogue reader attack is to always use a protected reader. Make sure the reader has a protected housing or a casing around it to prevent a rogue reader being set up next to it. Most readers are built this way now. Next, we're going to look at privacy. If you decide to use RFID technology, a lot of the information you put out there is out of your control. You don't know what happens to the data when it's collected, who sees it, or how securely stored it is. If you use Google Wallet, your information is stored in the Google servers, which are very well secured. So the biggest thing you can do with privacy is just be smart, which brings me to my two final key points. Be smart and be cautious. Always know who you're connecting to when you use RFID. Try to pick major trusted organizations and don't share information with anything that seems sketchy. All right, thank you. In conclusion, I'm going to summarize what we talked about in this video. First, Ryan showed the basics of what RFID is, and then Dustin showed 3 examples of how RFID is used in different businesses and the different technologies they employ. And then I ended showing some of the major security and privacy concerns about RFID. Thank you for watching.